Don't find a man online. Oh, don't find a man online. You might think he fine and he won't have a dime. Don't find him online. Hey, hey, don't let him tell you he rich. Oh, don't let him tell you he rich. I know what I'm talking about. You might think he rich and you wind up getting catfish. Don't find him online.
Oh, by the way, my name is Ashtray.
My name is Dashiki. That's Swahili for doggy style.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Those are my kids.
Hello, everybody.
Now, children, what do you say when you meet a nice man?
Are you my daddy?
Don't scare Negroes today with no badge or no white skin or no white sheet or no white anything else. The police the same way. They put their club upside your head and then turn around and accuse you of attacking them. Every case of police brutality against a Negro follows the same pattern. They attack you, bust you all upside your mouth, and then take you to court and charge you with assault. What kind of democracy is that? What kind of freedom is that? What kind of social or political system is it when a black man has no voice in court, has nothing on his side other than what the white man chooses to give him? My brothers and sisters, we have to put a stop to this, and it will never be stopped until we stop it ourselves. They attack the victim, and then the criminal who attacked the victim accuses the victim of attacking him. Yes, sir. This is American justice. Yes, sir. That's right. This is American democracy. Yes, and those of you who are familiar with it know that in America, democracy is hypocrisy.
We are the Muslim wing of the black grassroots. Unapologetic, strong, uncompromising voices that have been in the faces of the enemy and those who tap dance for them. The Feachaz is proud to present the archives exclusively on Patreon.
Salaam Alaikum. Mr. Moderator, our distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, our friends and our enemies.
Bismillah wa salatu wa salam Rasulullah wa ba'd. In the name of Allah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon his last and final messenger. Family, friends, foes, haters, and hatettes, welcome back to the Feachaz. I greet you all in peace and love with no hatred in my heart. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So before we begin, please like, please subscribe, and please share. As you know, we have got a lot of haters up in here. And today's topic, you guys might want to hold on to your seatbelts for this one, because this one I've been like really anticipating this one. I put so much thought into this to bring you this, because these are my personal thoughts on this particular situation, and I'm pretty sure it's going to blow a lot of your minds. But it's, for me, it's something that is important to talk about. So I want to give my salams. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Bilal, and wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Hal Speaks Facts. Hayakumullah. And this topic, family, is something that is happening before our eyes right now as we speak. Okay? In general, if you are too arrogant to take advice, you will never improve, right? We all understand this, correct? So coaching is crucial for development, and humbling yourself to a coach's advice will only make you better, correct? Wa alaikum salam rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, brother Abu Barak. Hayakumullah. So if you look at some of our top athletes, for example, Jordan had coaches. LeBron has coaches. Serena Williams has a trainer, personal trainer. These are the top athletes in their professions, and they have people to guide them. And they take orders from their trainers and coaches, even though they're at the top, okay? These trainers who are professional and skilled and are able to communicate what these athletes need to do in order to improve their skills. And they are the cream of the crop in their particular fields. Okay? So this right here, this concept, it goes for any aspect of life, whether professional, personal, educational, physical, mental, or spiritual. I'm pretty sure we all can agree with that, right? If you want to improve and develop your skills, you need a coach. And our spiritual guidance should come from the coaching and training of righteous scholars, correct? The Rabbaniyun, okay? But what is happening is that we have reached a time where the advice of scholars is not valued, and people prefer to get their Islamic guidance from people with little to no spiritual training at all. But these people, these same people that they're getting their spiritual training from, what they are very skilled at is navigating through social media. This is the trend now. And these particular influencers have the power over the hearts and minds of the masses of Muslim youth. And their grasp on the multitudes is so widespread that we now have a phenomenon of many Muslims who just parrot off what they hear some influencer said. Y'all hearing me? Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. LK. So this brings us now to the red pill prophecy. For those of you who don't know, the red pill is a reference to a movie called The Matrix. And this movie has high spiritual connotations. The main character, Neo, is going through the motions of life, okay? But he senses that something is wrong with the world that he lives in. And he meets a man named Morpheus who tells him, yes, the world you live in is not what it seems, and then offers Neo two pills, a blue pill and a red pill. He says, if you take the blue pill, you can go back to your life and believe whatever you want to believe, and as if nothing ever happened, okay? But if you take the red pill, you will see the truth and the reality of this world, and you can never go back to unknowing the truth. Y'all hearing me? So there's an entire community based on this particular analogy. And this analogy in this movie was very obviously taken from scripture. It's a direct reference to the life of this world and the truth behind this world. And as Allah, He says in the Quran, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى. Okay? But you, the deniers, prefer the life of this world, even though the hereafter, the life of the next world, is better. So Allah is referencing what? Two worlds. Allah is clearly referencing two worlds. One world is the world that we see, the world that we live in, the world that we know about. It's governed by certain physical laws and applications. A world where humans, animals, and nature coexist, and man tries to conquer the resources of this world for his own benefit. Pardon me. In doing that, the very few and most ambitious chasers of this world are able to control the resources, education, information, wealth, health, and lives of the vast majority of the people on earth. It is a world where the worth of a human being is measured in currency, race, language, stature, popularity, and is leveraged through influence and government control and corporate interest. And that in this world, might makes right. So this world is referenced by this movie as Blue Pill. You understand? It's referenced by this movie as Blue Pill. Okay? The life of this world. And it is what Allah calls in the Quran, Hayat Dunya, the life of this material world. The second world that Allah references is the world that we can't see. The world that is behind the veil. The world where your wealth doesn't matter, your lineage doesn't matter, your race, your culture, your language, your gender, your age, your size, your shape, none of these insignificant things which we give preference to matters in that world. Things that you cannot control does not matter in the world in the next. This is the truth, and this is the reality behind this particular world, where everything in creation has already fallen in line with the reality of this world, except for human beings and spirits. This world is hidden specifically as a test to human beings. And this is the world that if you chase it, it is way better for you to chase the world of the hereafter, way better. And we are being tested by the blue pill on earth, but the red pill is what opens your eyes to the reality of this world. And once you have seen the reality of this world, you can never unsee it. You will always have distaste for chasing the life of this world at the expense of the life of the next world. The opening your eyes to the reality of this world is referenced in as the red pill in this movie. And in the Quran, Allah says, Al-Akhirah, that the life of the next world is better. Khayrun wa abqa, is better for you. Meaning chasing the life of this world, it can't be anything that is beneficial for you. The next world is better for you. So this reference in this movie is referencing scripture, and we have explicit scripture in the Quran which tells you explicitly what the reality of the life of this world. And this is an analogy of the red pill, the life of which we all can sense something is wrong with this world. All of us. It doesn't make a difference if we're Muslim, non-Muslim alike. The revelation of the Quran itself is a compelling argument for the true nature of this world. And we should be in line with the one who designed all of it, the unseen creator. If you look at the 6 pillars of faith, for example, right? It is a list of things that we cannot see, but is the absolute truth behind the reality of this world. None of us, for example, can see the atoms in the universe, the molecules in the universe. We cannot see the sound waves that are leaving my voice, that are hitting this mic, in which in return reach your ear, and those waves now send vibrations to your eardrums, which are now sending signals through your nervous system to your brain. And your brain is now deciphering the messages from these sound waves. But we all live in that reality, even though we can't see it. Likewise, the reality of believing in this world is that the first thing you must believe in is you have to believe in Allah, the unseen God. You have to believe in Allah, the unseen God. And then you have to believe in the angels, his unseen creation. And you have to believe in the books that he revealed. None of us seen the Torah. None of us seen the Injil or the Zabur. And we did not see the Quran when it came down. But we believe in it. None of us seen the author of the Quran, but we believe in the author of the Quran. You understand? We must believe in the prophets and messengers. The Prophet ﷺ, he was asked by his Sahaba, are we your brothers? And the Prophet ﷺ said, no, you are not my brothers. You are my companions. You are my Sahaba. My brothers are the ones who believe in me and they did not see me. You get it? And we believe in the day of judgment, the last day. None of us has seen or witnessed this before. But we believe in that day that is coming. And we also believe in the qadr, or the predestination. We believe that everything is predetermined. The good and the bad is predetermined. And even though we understand this, we work chasing the unseen world and the blessings that come with it. So the reality is truly something that is unseen. That is the truth. And that is why we can sense something is wrong with this particular world, because we are being tested with this world so that those of us who believe in the unseen can be rewarded by the unseen God. So now, as for this red pill prophecy, because I want to get into this, I'm trying to lay down a foundation because we're going to come back to this, right? I personally want to make full disclosure, okay, and a disclaimer that the opinions I'm about to share are none but my own, okay? They're nobody else's opinions. These are my opinions, okay? Anyone is welcome to disagree with me, no problem. And this is how I see it. Okay. We mentioned on this channel, for example, about the Hadith of Jibril. Right. And I said specifically at that time that this is my opinion, but I personally believe that the Hadith of Jibril, right, when the Prophet ﷺ, he is mentioning about al-amata tuwaldadu rabbatuha, right, that the female slave will give birth to rabbatuha, her Lord. The first time I heard this hadith, I instantly thought that this was a reference to black people without reading any books about it, because I know the history behind the transatlantic slave trade, even the wording behind it. Rabbatuha, her female Lord, not the male Lord, the female Lord. I said that this has already happened literally. And I stand on, that's my personal belief. I know a lot of the ulama, they say this is in reference to disobedient children to their parents. It could be. But when you look at the hadith in totality, right, there's another reference of this hadith where the Prophet ﷺ, he mentioned about al-hufat al-urwa al-alata riya ashayat tawalluna fil bunyan, right, where the Prophet ﷺ said that you will see the poor, destitute sheep herder Arabs competing with each other to build these high, lofty buildings. And I say that, well, this right here, we see this happening in our time, right? This part of the hadith came after the until the rabbataha, that the woman will give birth to her Lord. And if you look at it in succession, why is this thing taken literal, but the first part is taken figuratively? Because I didn't know that people were taking this figuratively. I just assumed, right, that people will automatically see the reference to the transatlantic slave trade. And I express this as my opinion, because we've seen in the history of slavery that this literally happened, where the slave woman would give birth to her own child, and her daughters would be in charge of her, because that child is the child of the slave master. It happened many times in Brazil, in South Africa, in the South, in the States, in the West Indies, even in Britain, okay, where slave masters would have relationships with their slaves, and their daughters would then be the owners, and even sometimes freeing their mothers. This already happened in Hitler. I just assumed people knew about that. I didn't know people didn't know about that, you know. But anyways, that was my opinion, okay? Also, about the hadith, another prophecy about the Euphrates River drying up. We put that out on this channel. This is already happening. And also the mountain of gold underneath the Euphrates River. We put this out on our channel. Okay, already happened. This right here, this particular prophecy hasn't necessarily happened, but when I seen certain attitudes happening on social media, I can see an escalation of this happening, and we're going to get into it, inshallah. So like, subscribe, share, hit me up on Patreon, support the channel. Let's get into it. Let us get into it. Support this channel on Patreon. Support this channel through PayPal, through Super Chats, and hopefully we're going to enlighten some of y'all today, okay? Now, there is this prophecy, I personally believe, again, my personal beliefs, that is coming into fruition right now as we speak, right? If you were to ask me about this prophecy even a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have much to say about it, because I personally never witnessed this happening. And even up to now, with all honesty, I haven't witnessed it happening. right? But with regards to what's happening in our current social media climate and the way that certain behaviors are being manifested, to be honest, I believe that it's only a matter of time that this does happen. And it seems very likely that red pill Muslims will be at the forefront of it. What do you mean, Bilal? Well, let's have a look at the prophecy first, okay? The prophecy itself is found in many different hadith books, right? And we're referencing right now Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet ﷺ, he's saying to avoid 7 noxious things or noxious sins. And it was said by the listeners, what are they, Ya Rasulullah? And the Prophet ﷺ said, the first one is associating anything with Allah, the shirk, okay? We all understand that. Magic was the second one. We all understand this. Killing one whom God declared inviolate without a just cause, right? So basically taking the soul that you don't have any right to take, right? So now we see in our time, we see the rise of shirk, right? Shirk is going all over the place. We see the rise of magic, especially through entertainment. People are accepting magic all over the place. We see the rise of people just murdering people without just cause. Black people know all about that, okay? Consuming the property of an orphan, okay? And consuming usury, okay? And turning the back when the army advances, right? So these next 3, I think they're pretty self-explanatory, right? But this part of the prophecy was the one that I was really confused about, and that is, and slandering chaste women who are believers but unaware. That's the one I always thought about this. This is the one part of this particular prophecy that I always used to wonder about, because I've never seen this, the slandering of chaste women who are believers but are unwary, nor have I ever even heard about it. Because when we think of slander, we think of just, riba, namima, and these type of things, right? And people just kind of slandering people on an individual basis. But the Prophet says something, he specified women, chaste women, who are believers, right? He made this important distinction. Why is it the woman and not the men? I always used to wonder about this, right? But anyways, what does it have to do with Ripple? Okay, I'm getting to it. Okay. All right. Now, why this part is sticking to my head, and why am I linking this with red pill? As we mentioned in the beginning, if you want to master anything, you need to be coached, trained, taught. You need to find somebody to coach you, correct? And now, for the first time I've ever seen, we have Muslim individuals positioning themselves as coaches for masculinity and how to get the woman you want, and even started one of these individuals even started a for-profit app called Marriage Without Strings. Now, I'm not here to talk about the legitimacy of that particular app, but I just want to establish something here, okay? So recently on YouTube, we have had, for the last few months, that there have been certain individuals accusing very specific Muslim women, not the men, but Muslim women, of being feminist, who are obviously not feminist, okay? And this has been going on for months. all over YouTube. Okay? We are talking about Muslims whose identities have been publicly tied with feminism, and there's no proof to label them as such. Okay? And why are they being labeled as feminists? Why are these specific Muslim women being labeled as feminist? It's because they have expressed their disdain for being in polygamous relationships. Okay, this is something that's going back even down to the time of the Sahaba, right? Where women would express their displeasure in being in polygamous relationships. But nobody has ever accused them of being feminist for that, right? Nobody in history has ever accused a Muslim woman for being feminist because she didn't want to be in a polygamous marriage. Ever. That is only something that started happening recently. So to me, this was very concerning, but I left it because I didn't, you know me, everybody want to make me out to be a troublemaker, right? And I don't want no trouble, okay? But I just left it because there's more than one, okay? And we're talking about big, massive platforms, okay? And they're accusing Muslim women, not men, but Muslim women of being feminist, okay? But then something else happened recently. And this was the thing that made me really think about this hadith, okay? So the thing that made me really think about this hadith that happened recently was the conversion of the brother Andrew Tate. Okay? Andrew Tate, he converted. And many Muslim women expressed their displeasure when they saw, Andrew Tate converting to Islam, okay? But what I saw as a response from the Muslim men, that was the shocking thing to me, right? That was a shocking thing to me. And I instantly went back to this hadith, right? At this point, they were blanketly accusing Muslim women of being feminists because they had an issue with Andrew Tate's conversion. Right? Family, I want you to understand something, okay? Me, personally, I listen to Andrew Tate, okay? I listen to Andrew Tate, okay? But I don't think it's appropriate, and I've said this many times, I don't think it's appropriate to put his material in front of Muslims. Why? Because his material is not something for the wider Muslim society. It's just not. Right? He has, of course, like anybody else, he has some good stuff. Right? But anybody who watches his stuff, you know that he talks to Instagram models, and he asks questions to porn stars, like, what are the pros and cons of being porn stars? Like, this stuff is not appropriate it's not appropriate for the wider Muslim audience. It's not somebody you should be pushing for. If you want to listen to yourself and the privacy of your home, just to, but I had a big issue with Muslims pushing him forward, and I knew exactly why they were doing it. They're doing it because they're red pillars. That's why you do that. That's why you do that stuff, because you're red pillars. You get it? That's why I had a problem. Just because you like to listen to somebody doesn't mean you put that person in front of all the Muslims to listen to. Do you get it? I had a massive problem with Muslims using their large platforms to push the brother Andrew Tate. And why? When you have these Eastern Muslims, okay, particularly from, the South Asian region, Okay. These Muslims have largely misogynistic backgrounds. Okay. We're not talking about a regular patriarchy. No, we are talking about cultures which are anti-women. I want to be very clear about that. These cultures are anti-women, mostly from the South Asian region, and to a large part, a lot of Arab countries, but mostly South Asians, Pakistan, India, Afghanistan, these type of places. Okay, we're not talking about patriarchy now. Then you have people from these backgrounds coming to the West, and they are being fed red pill ideology, and they already have this anti-woman background to begin with. And I said many times that red pill is not appropriate for Muslims who come from the East. It's just not. It may be appropriate in some cases for Black people. Yes, I can see that, because it's a cultural thing. Black people, their culture is the total opposite. We have matriarchies. We don't have anti-women culture. We have anti-man culture, okay? So I can see it for Black folks. But I don't see it for Muslims. It's not appropriate at all. And if you don't believe me, any one of you who has been to any masjid run by Jamaat Tabligh, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, especially the sisters. Especially the sisters. Any woman who's ever been to a masjid run by Jamaat Tabligh, as a matter of fact, where are the sisters at? Particularly Western sisters. When you go to a Tablighi Jamaat mosque, where do they put you? Somebody put it in the chat, please. Somebody just put it in the chat. When you go to a Jamaat Tabligh mosque, what is the women's section like in Jamaat Tabligh mosque? What is it like? And what do they do to the kids in a Jamaat Tabligh mosque when it's time for Salat? Just put it in the chat so I know I'm not tripping here. Thank you. Thank you, Abu Sufyan. It's a closet. They put you in some dungeon somewhere. No carpet, no air conditioning. You're the last one. You're the last one to get food in Ramadan, right? You get it? Westerners, we don't do that. We're not used to that. We're not used to that. We serve our women first. You know, we get our children, women first. We don't kick our kids in the back of the masjid somewhere, right? When we're making salat. We're going to take our kids with us to pray. You know what I mean? But you South Asians are on some different stuff. Look what's going on with Afghanistan right now with the Taliban and stuff. And they're educating women and stuff. I say red pill is not appropriate for Muslims. It's not. You guys have to learn how to treat women in accordance to the Quran and the Sunnah first. You got to develop that. And this is why your women will have a propensity to take some feminist leanings, but that doesn't mean that they are feminists. They are responding to the anti-woman sentiment in their culture. You get it? It's the same thing with Andrew Tate. It's not that Andrew Tate is the issue. It's the men who listen to Andrew Tate, and then they encourage Muslim men to listen to Andrew Tate, are going to these women and talking to them in public on social media in a certain manner, which is absolutely disrespectful and not indicative of manners between a Muslim man and Muslim woman. That's what they're responding to. If the Muslim men who listen to Andrew Tate talk to the Muslim women with some respect, they wouldn't have a problem with him. But they having a problem with him is not him. It's the men that listen to him and their attitudes towards women. You get it? You guys are saying that they're feminist. Feminist. That's what you guys are saying. You're calling them feminist. Based on what? It's not an indictment against Andrew Tate. It's an indictment against y'all. Because you have taken masculinity coaches in beards and suits over actual scholars. And now y'all out here talking crazy. Blanketly accusing Muslim women of being feminist. And they might not be. Some of them may be, yes, maybe some of them. But when a Muslim woman is responding to the disrespect that brothers are expressing online, that's not feminism. That's not feminism. We have brothers, some of y'all know, those of you who are on my Facebook, whatever, black men who are like the black version of incels. Okay. These black men who are the black versions of incels non-stop ragging on black women. Non-stop. And that didn't used to happen before. So this black man, he himself don't got a woman. He don't got any type of woman, any race, anywhere. But he is comfortable enough to say all kinds of stuff about women. They're just comfortable, like, you know. And this is what's happening to Muslims now, right? Muslims are feeling comfortable in accusing women of being feminists, and it is not that they're feminists. They just, you know, want to be talked to with some respect, right? You get it? And for sure, 100%, like the way that some of these influencers are talking about these women, about being feminist, is 100% absolutely wrong. Wrong. And they know it's wrong. But again, the new idea of Quran and Sunnah is what's trending and how you can influence people. That's it. That's why we don't care here. We just telling you the truth. Y'all get me? Go to any masjid in Jamaat, any Jamaat Tabligh masjid, and tell me that these people respect women. You see what I'm saying? And furthermore, when these women, they come to the West, you bring your families out here to the West, right? And I'm talking to brothers in Jamaat Tabligh and stuff, right? You bring your families out here to the West, right? You are still in your mind back in Pakistan or India somewhere while living in the West. Because you think that because, you know, you got access to your cousins and whatnot, and, you know, eventually you're going to get married and everything like that, that your women now living here are going to want to marry some, you know, skinny, bearded, furry, hairy dude who's going to go home and then slap up his wife and stuff. Like, who wants to marry that? Who wants to marry that? Then you turn around and call that feminism. Like, what? When they don't want to marry you. Instead of like opening your mind, right? And maybe saying, you know what? I'm seeing some different things here. Maybe I should do something different. No, you are trying to bring Nizamuddin and Pakistan and Deoband to the West. And you wonder why you're losing and stuff. We put out a video about For example, Al Islam Productions. You know what I mean? Because they making these retarded, ridiculous refutations on Salafis, like the most. I never seen ridiculous refutations like this in my life. Like they're so dumb. And we just said the reason why y'all doing that is because you don't have no dawah to make. Like nobody comes to Islam and says, I want to be a Deobandi. So your only recourse now is to prevent your Deobandis from leaving Deobandism, right? As a form of retention. Now, how do you do that? These retarded refutations. Not once in my entire life did I ever see somebody convert to Islam and say, a convert from the West, and say, you know what, I'm going to become a Brayoli or something like that. I never seen that. How many Brayoli converts do you guys know? You guys know any Brayoli converts? Yes or no? Put it in the chat, please. You ever see that? You ever see a Brayoli convert? I've never seen that in my entire life. And now y'all mad, so you have to do refutations. You get it? So now what we have are these same men. They're taking marching orders from other men on how to be masculine, how to dominate women, and they go online and absolutely trash women. We've seen it over and over and over again. And these sisters, they may not be feminists at all, okay? But they're being talked to in a certain manner. And these men have talking points from Andrew Tate, and they're just repeating it. Remember, we talked about that coaching. That's where it comes from. You get me? We should be, as Muslims, we should be happy that Andrew Tate, he converted, right? We should be happy. But what happened? And exactly what I said what happened. His conversion got totally politicized within the Muslim community. So much so that even one of your YouTubian Da'i elites went out and said, you know, that Andrew Tate's conversion is proof that the liberal Muslims are losing. Like what? Like what? What is you talking about? How did this become a liberal conservative Muslim thing now? It's not about Tawheed and Shirk. It's about liberal conservatism now. You have the first interview that he had. They had to talk about liberalism. They had to talk about. They had to. You get me? And who couldn't see that coming? So, anyways, for me, the amount of YouTubian Da'i elites that came out and said that all these women, all of them, are feminists was shocking, right? Because we're seeing Muslim influencers telling women publicly, look, with no shyness, sort of fix my sandwich, make my babies. No shyness at all. Make my babies, fix my sandwich, and don't talk so much. And when they already have cultures where women are already doing that, okay, that the culture they come from that. You get it? But they're doing it in such a talking down way, like not in a method of advising the sisters. You know what I mean? When we advise Black women here, right, we do it with stats and figures so we can wake them up. We're not trying to put them down. We're trying to build them up. You get it? Like a family does. We're admonishing them like a family. These brothers are legit at picking on women. Just picking on them. So when I saw that, I said to myself that they can If they can accuse these women of being feminists so easily, like so simple, so easily, then it's not a stretch that they would accuse them of being thoughts and all kind of other stuff and other accusations, in my opinions. And that's why I thought about that hadith. Because to me, it was obvious. There's no way all these women are feminists. They have a problem because of the language. That's it. Their problem is the language, the attitudes, this social media attitude that Muslim men are taking. That's their issue. And it's very obvious. You know what I mean? It's very obvious that they have, issue with some of your social media influencers, and this problem. It's a massive problem. How are you introducing Muslims to red pill? It don't make no sense. It doesn't make no sense to me at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. You get it? And that, brothers and sisters, in my humble opinion, is the red pill prophecy, specifically the part of slandering chaste women who are believers. Because I don't know how else to call this except for slander. And it's an unjust type of slander. And it's referring to women directly. So if you can do this, of course it can escalate. Of course it can. You get it? It don't make no sense to me personally how Easterners are going to be red pill. I'm not seeing it. Not seeing it. But anyways, you guys, where are my super chats? It's 20 of y'all, man. It's 20 of y'all. Where are my super chats? And don't forget on PayPal and whatchamacallit. Let me get this up here. Let me get the banner. What's the other one? The Cash App. There we go. Okay. Let's get to these comments. You guys come on and join me. I don't got all day, man. Hop on that link. Right? The problem with red pill or many other ideologies is half-truths filter through hyperbolic statements. Well, here's the thing, right? Red pill is not something that is like it's not like a narrow type thing. It's very vast and very wide. And, so you have red pill who are basically pickup artists. You have red pill who are, talking about, dating single mothers and all kind of stuff. It's very vast, but mostly red pill is about, men's empowerment and these type of things, right? Men in the Muslim world have always been empowered, like always. You know what I mean? I'm particularly in the South Asian region. It's very obvious that the men run the show there. So I'm not seeing this. How this. If you want to attack feminism, then attack feminism is no issue. I have no problem attacking feminism. We attack feminism here all the time, right? But we do it in a very detailed and specific manner. And we're definitely not accusing people. Have you ever heard me accuse someone of being a feminist who wasn't a feminist? Ever? Have you ever heard the Feachaz ever accuse a Muslim woman of being a feminist when she wasn't a feminist? Yes or no? I can't see myself. I can never do something like that. I can't do something like that. You get me? You're going to accuse a Muslim woman. She's a sister, mind you. The women in Islam are supposed to be the protected class. How are men attacking women publicly like that? How are you doing that? And you know, in Islam, women are the protected class. You get me? Like, if the woman is dangerous, maybe. But Muslim women, even people like Linda Sarsour, I haven't attacked her. You know, I definitely don't agree with her in a lot of things, but she's a Muslim woman. What do you want me to do? I'm not attacking her. You know, also people like, what's that Somalian lady name again? Put it in the chat, y'all. The Somalian one. I can't even remember. Ilhan Omar, right? It's like weird for me. And we'd be justified if we wanted to, right? We'd be justified. You get it? But to paint this broad brush, you know, because some Muslim women, they went online, they're talking amongst themselves to other Muslim women about their dislike for polygamy, which is it surprising? No. You know what I mean? Lots of Muslim women don't like the polygamy. So many of them. But they're not making it haram or anything. They're just Muslim women talking about their dislike for polygamy for centuries. Now we're going to label them as feminists. Make it make sense. Politics been there, Dean. Islam is just their culture. Yeah. Well, now what's happening in the West, particularly, is there are these strong pushes between the forces of the left and the forces of the right, and making Muslims participate in this paradigm. And again, both sides are kufr. It's all kufr. No, you're telling me that being liberal or being conservative is part of Iman, is part of Islam, a system that was created by the enemies of Islam? You think they want you to participate in the left-right paradigm to strengthen Muslims? When's the last time you've seen the Jews, for example, say, tell all the Jews vote liberal or vote conservative? Have you ever seen that in your life? No, but yet the ADL was bold enough to put on their Twitter that 95% of the candidates that they promoted won their elections. Now, how does that happen? You know how it happens? It's because they're voting for themselves, and they're such a small group. They're such a small group, but yet they're able to do that. What else we got here? Can someone post a link about the Euphrates prophecy? I have it on the channel somewhere. I have multiple videos about that one, right? The Euphrates prophecy, right? All the way from last year, we're putting that stuff out in detail, right? And the Mountain of Gold, we put that stuff out too. What else we got here? All right, y'all. You guys are boring, man. You guys don't want to join me or what? Like, you guys don't want to come on? All right. Well, that's my red pill prophecy. Like, subscribe, share. Hit me up on Patreon. We will see you guys live, I think, on Thursday. Inshallah, next week. Subhanallah wa bihamdik wa shana la ant wa astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.